Cody, AFC West to finish out all the divisions.
So I had the LA Chargers finishing at 5-11. I did predict that Herbert would come in at some point in the season, but I didn't think that he would be as good as he was. And honestly, like he probably, him and Burrow are the two, best quarterbacks that have come out of a draft, and it seems like in a while, because Herbert was doing so great. Obviously, I didn't get that prediction right because Broncos finished, I believe it was 5-11. Let me double check. Yeah, they finished 5-11 in fourth place. I said that the Broncos would finish 7-9, and I even made the argument that Broncos, I thought, could either go 7-9 or they can go like 10-6 and sneak into the division. I do stand behind that because they did have a pretty big injury with Courtland Sutton very early in the season, and I knew that him and Drew Lock had a good rapport, and I figured that would help out Jerry Jeudy. Obviously, that didn't, but we did see that the Broncos had a really nice receiving core. Even though they were young, they still were pretty productive. Drew Lock is not a franchise quarterback, so I take back anything I said about that. I thought he was a good quarterback. He's subpar at best. Like, he's an average quarterback. He's better than Carson Wentz. I'm just kidding.
No, I was going to say, there's no way. The Broncos would take Carson Wentz in a heartbeat right now.
And I would say the same thing. But anyway, so that was my prediction with the Broncos. I figured they'd finish third at 7-9. They finished fourth. Here's where it gets hairy. I predicted right that the Raiders would finish in the division at second place. That's where they finished. I said 10-6. They obviously finished at 8-8. I predicted playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs. I will say, though, there were a couple of episodes where we talked about the Raiders before they were officially eliminated. I said we're not getting in. I didn't see it happening. But for the most part, to begin the prediction process, I did say that they were going to go 10-6, making the playoffs, second in the division. We finished second at 8-8. The only other thing I got right, Kansas City Chiefs, I claimed that they would go 13-3. They went 14-2. So I was one off, but it's the Chiefs. I mean, I still predict they're going to win the Super Bowl. Make an argument that they won't because they have Patrick Mahomes. Who's beating Patrick Mahomes? Nobody. So that's what I had for the West. It's very unfortunate because I had really high hopes for the Raiders this year and getting in the playoffs, and at some points it looked really promising. And at this point right now, as we sit today, I know this is a discussion we'll have on another episode, but honestly, I think we need to look at maybe replacing John Gruden. So I know that's a bold statement, but we did not progress as much as we should have from year to year. If anything, we did the same, and I would make an argument that we did worse this season at the worst possible time to get worse. And I would say it's because John Gruden's discipline in the team isn't as good as we suspect. And, I would also make the argument that any team that has John Gruden, their defense has always been terrible. And what made us think that this would be any different? And granted, we had Paul Guenther. We were asking for him to go. But even when Paul Guenther left, our defense was still pitiful. But we're going to exclude the Super Bowl winning Buccaneers from this because Tony Dungy was leading that defense. John Gruden has not had a good defense at any time he's been a head coach. And this obviously proved it. And I think that John Gruden is we need to think about changing the head coach because he's a little too old school. And it's in my opinion, that's another topic, but that's what I'm just going to leave it at right there. So, but that's my prediction. That was what my prediction was for the AFC West.
Wow. Yeah, I'm shook by that, but it's not completely far-fetched. I'm not going to say I'm ready for John Gruden to go yet. I'm not going to go that far, but I do get where you're coming from. So it's not something that I don't understand or haven't thought of myself, but I don't think I'm ready to say it yet. My prediction, I had the Chiefs in first place. I don't think anyone had anyone else above them in this division other than delusional Raider fans. I had the Chiefs at 12-4. Obviously, they went 14-2. I felt like the Chiefs were going to kind of take a step back, not giant, but they were going to kind of take a step back, even though they went 12-4 last year, because I felt like, they're going to get their best. But when we were looking at their schedule, it wasn't very tough.
Right.
Now looking at it, Buffalo was a tough win they got. And then obviously the Raiders were really tough games, but they played the Saints and the Buccaneers. And Ravens. I mean, so those were some tough teams that they ended up getting wins on. So good for them. But overall, the Chiefs going into the playoffs, I think there is a little bit of worry. How much worry? I'm not sure. I still think this is a very talented team, so it's kind of hard to be like, oh, I don't know how they're going to do. But overall, pretty much, I think you and I are on the same page. I just felt like they were going to get the best from everyone, and they kind of did benefit from a I don't want to say easy schedule, but a semi-easy schedule, easier than some. And I think they became a product of that. But it'll be interesting to see what they do in the playoffs for sure. I also had the Raiders. You actually talked me down. I had the Raiders in the beginning at 11-5. You talked me down. You said, "Hey, listen, I think you need to put another because at first I had the Chiefs at 11-5, and I had the Raiders at 11-5."
Yeah,
and
you were really high on the Raiders to start, and really low on the Chiefs, and I was like, "Whoa, man, whoa."
Yes, but you did talk me out of it, and I'm glad you did because now it looks like you were definitely right on that one. I'm not taking credit for this at all. I had the Raiders at 10-6. I thought they were going to be a playoff team, a wild card, and they screwed the pooch in December. I mean, absolutely laid an egg. And I know there's a bunch of Raider fans who are like, "Well, it's Carr. He's not doing anything." Listen, the Falcons game where we only scored like 6 points, that was just one of those games that you just can't predict. But if you take that game out and like his best game, and let's say it was against the Chiefs, he was still a really good quarterback this year. So let's not act like he had like the worst year. And everyone wants to talk about, well, Mariota. Yeah, you know what? Mariota still lost the game when he came in.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we talking about here? But I can't go down that rabbit hole. It's just going to piss me off. But anyway, the Raiders, I didn't know that their defense was going to be historically this bad. I mean, it was so awful. The loss that we had at the end to the Dolphins was just one of the worst things I've ever seen. I was watching the game, saw them kick the field goal with 23 seconds left, and I was like, oh, okay, we got it. I shut it off because I was with family hanging out, celebrating Christmas with the family. All of a sudden, I look back and I get all these updates that the Raiders lost, and I was like, what? And so I look and I watch the play, and I was like, oh my god! So you can't blame that on Carr. Carr literally did what Gruden wanted him to do: take a knee. It's what he did. They kicked the field goal, and the defense absolutely gave it up. It was the worst defense I've ever seen played. It was the worst. Cannot believe that happened. So can't predict that. Couldn't have known that. And we felt like our defense was not great, but we didn't think they were going to be this bad, and they are. I had the Chargers at 3 at 6-10. They ended up being 7-9. So I was pretty accurate on that. You and I both said we feel like Josh Herbert was going to be coming in. We didn't know he was going to come in like week 3.
Justin Herbert.
Or week 2. Justin Herbert. What did I say?
Josh.
Oh, sorry. Whatever. I don't care. He's a Chargers quarterback, so. No, but
who cares? He doesn't have a name at this point.
Yeah. He's Phillip Rivers 2.0. We knew he was going to come in. We didn't know he was going to come in as early, and honestly, the Chargers didn't either. Yeah. But I guess if you're a Chargers fan, thank God for the doctors there because they saved the franchise.
How much of his rookie contract do you think he gave the doctor to poke Tyron?
Exactly. How much money?
Go a little hard on there, and I'll give you a couple of grand over here.
Poor Tyrod Taylor, man. That guy just keeps getting screwed.
I know, and he's a good quarterback. That's the crazy.
He's not bad. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he would have done better than Herbert. And then in last place, I had the Broncos at 5-11, which they ended up. So pretty much the bottom of the division, I pretty much guessed. I don't think it was that difficult. I don't like Drew Lock. I never thought he was that good. I know you were kind of a little bit higher on him because of Courtland Sutton. I don't think it would have changed even if Sutton were out. Another person I drafted, by the way, Courtland Sutton. Anyway, on your
Sorry.
behalf. So that was on
No,
you.
I was really high on him. I said
That
top 10.
was on
I
you.
think
You were
I
like,
put him.
I was like, should I go Sutton or I don't forgot who else it
Dude,
was.
I
And
was
you were
like, yeah,
go
Sutton, dude.
Sutton, dude. Go Sutton. I was like, yeah, Cody's so confident in it. And that screwed me. Anyway, thanks a lot, bud.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I think a receiver you might have passed on was like Godwin or Sutton. Sutton, bro.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't like
wasn't
that.
that
'Cause I
bad.
would have definitely gotten one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, the biggest disappointment, the biggest whiff was the Raiders.
Yeah, I agree.
I had them going in the playoffs because I believed in the team. And I didn't think Paul Gunther was going to be that bad. I thought with Corey Littleton, Nick Kwiatkowski, who both, honestly, I know a lot of people were on Littleton early in the year. Towards the end of the year, he was really good. Kwiatkowski was just a beast, but Jonathan Abram looked like he regressed. Eric Harris looked like he forgot how to play.
Yeah.
I mean, Trayvon Mullen actually was really good. He had a couple of games, though, where he just was not good. Damon Arnett could not be healthy. Isaiah Johnson actually was decent, but we needed more than decent. And
Jonathan Abram blowing assignments.
Yeah, and then we just couldn't get to the quarterback. I mean, Crosby was okay. Farrell was better than he was last year, but overall, we need a pass rusher so bad. Honestly, I will say this. I think we need a pass rusher more than we need secondary. That's an argument for another day, but that's my thought is if we had a pass rusher, we would have been in a couple of more of these games. Like we put no pressure on Phillip Rivers against the Colts. None. We put no pressure on Matt Ryan against the freaking Falcons, who have not a great offensive line. It's not like they're killing it. So, it was unfortunate.